The plane was about to land when a teen said, "Wait." A plane full of passengers was moments from landing when a teenage boy suddenly stood up and shouted, "Wait." The crew froze. Everyone froze. What he said next would save every single person on that aircraft. This is the story of how one 16-year-old boy became a hero at 30,000 feet. Before we dive in, what time are you listening? Where are you from? Drop a comment below and tell me. And please like and subscribe for more videos like this. The morning started like any other Tuesday for Marcus Chen. He woke up at 6, brushed his teeth, packed his backpack, and headed to the airport with his mother. They were flying from Seattle to San Francisco for his older sister's college graduation. Marcus was 16, quiet, and spent most of his time with his nose in books about engineering and physics. His mother always joked that he noticed things other people missed. She had no idea how true that would become. They arrived at the airport 2 hours early. His mother liked to be prepared. Marcus did not mind. He used the time to read a magazine about aircraft design. He had always been fascinated by planes. How something so heavy could fly. How every part worked together like a perfect machine. His dream was to become an aerospace engineer one day. He wanted to build planes that were safer, faster, better. At the gate, Marcus watched the ground crew through the window. He watched them load luggage, refuel the plane, check the engines. He noticed everything. The way they moved, the way they communicated, the way they followed their checklists. His mother nudged him and smiled. She knew he was in his own world. When boarding began, Marcus and his mother found their seats near the middle of the plane. Window seat for him, aisle for her. The plane filled quickly. Business people typing on laptop, families with young children, an elderly couple holding hands. Everyone settling in for the short flight. The flight attendants demonstrated the safety procedures. Most passengers ignored them. Marcus watched carefully. He always did. The plane pushed back from the gate. The engines roared to life. Marcus felt the familiar thrill as they taxied to the runway. He loved this moment. The power, the anticipation, the defiance of gravity. The plane accelerated down the runway and lifted into the sky. Seattle disappeared beneath the clouds. Marcus pressed his face to the window and smiled. The flight was smooth. The captain announced they would land in San Francisco in about 90 minutes. The seatbelt sign turned off. People unbuckled and stretched. Flight attendants rolled carts down the aisle offering drinks and snacks. Marcus accepted a ginger ale and returned to his magazine. His mother dozed beside him. Everything was normal. Everything was fine. About an hour into the flight, Marcus noticed something. A faint smell. Chemical. Not like fuel. Not like food. Something else. He looked around. No one else seemed to notice. He sniffed again, definitely there. He felt a small flutter of concern but pushed it away. Planes smell strange sometimes, he told himself. Nothing to worry about. But the smell grew stronger. Marcus put down his magazine. He looked toward the front of the cabin, then toward the back. Still, no one seemed concerned. The flight attendants chatted near the galley. Passengers read, slept, scrolled on phones. His mother's eyes were still closed. Marcus unbuckled his seatbelt and stood. He needed to see if he could figure out where the smell was coming from. He walked slowly toward the back of the plane. The smell intensified. Definitely chemical. Definitely wrong. Near the rear galley, he stopped. He saw a small wisp of smoke curling from behind a panel near the floor. His heart jumped. Smoke. On a plane. He crouched down and looked closer. The panel was warm to the touch. Very warm. He stood quickly and found a flight attendant. "Excuse me," he said. "There is smoke back here." The flight attendant, a woman named Sarah, smiled politely. She had heard 1,000 false alarms in her career. Sometimes passengers mistook steam from the galley for smoke. Sometimes it was just condensation. She walked with Marcus to the back and crouched where he pointed. Her smile disappeared. She touched the panel. She smelled the air. Her face went pale. "Stay here," she said firmly. "Do not touch anything." Sarah moved quickly to the front of the plane. She picked up the phone and spoke to the cockpit. Marcus could not hear what she said, but he saw her expression. Serious. Urgent. Within seconds, Another flight attendant appeared with a fire extinguisher. They opened the panel carefully. Smoke poured out. Passengers nearby gasped. Some stood, some pointed. The calm of the flight shattered in an instant. The captain's voice came over the intercom. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have a minor technical issue. Please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened. We will be making an early landing." Minor technical issue. Marcus knew that was code. There was nothing minor about smoke on a plane. He returned to his seat. His mother was awake now, eyes wide with worry. She grabbed his hand. He squeezed back. Around them, passengers murmured nervously. Some craned their necks to see what was happening. Others clutched armrests. The mood had shifted from routine to tense. The flight attendants moved through the cabin, calming people, checking seatbelts, preparing for an emergency landing. Marcus could see the worry behind their professional smiles. The plane began descending faster than normal. The engines changed pitch. The wings tilted. They were heading down, and they were heading down quickly. Marcus looked out the window. They were still over mountains, thick forests below, no cities, no airports. His mind raced. If the fire spread, if the electrical systems failed, if the controls stopped working. He forced himself to breathe. The pilots were trained for this. The plane had backup systems. They would be okay. They had to be okay. Minutes felt like hours. The smoke smell reached the main cabin now. Passengers covered their noses. A baby cried. Someone coughed. The flight attendants distributed wet towels. Marcus pressed one to his face. His mother did the same. Her hand trembled in his. He tried to project calm, but his own heart hammered in his chest. The captain spoke again. "We are diverting to the nearest airport. Emergency services will meet us on the ground. Remain calm and follow crew instructions." Diverting. That meant they could not make it to San Francisco. That meant the situation was serious. Marcus calculated distances in his head. Where was the nearest airport? How much time did they have? He wished he could see the cockpit instruments. He wished he knew exactly what was happening behind that panel. The plane continued its rapid descent. The mountains gave way to flatter terrain. Marcus spotted a city in the distance. Reading maybe, or Chico. The plane banked sharply. People gasped. Bags shifted in overhead bins. The flight attendant sat down and buckled in. That was the signal. Things were about to get real. Then Marcus noticed something else. The flight attendant near the back was speaking urgently into a phone. Her face was tight with fear. She glanced toward the cockpit, then back at the panel. Marcus leaned into the aisle, trying to hear. He caught fragments, spreading. "Cannot contain. Need to land now." His stomach dropped. The fire was spreading. Despite the extinguisher, despite their efforts, he looked at his mother. Should he tell her? Should he say what he suspected? Before he could decide, the plane lurched hard. People screamed. Oxygen masks dropped from the ceiling. The cabin lights flickered. "Put on your masks," the captain shouted over the intercom, his voice no longer calm. "Put them on now." Chaos erupted. Passengers fumbled with masks. Parents struggled to help children. The elderly couple across the aisle could not reach theirs. Marcus jumped up, ignoring his own mask, and pulled theirs down. He helped them secure the straps. His mother yanked him back into his seat and forced his mask over his face. Her eyes were wet with tears. The plane descended even faster now. Too fast. Marcus felt the G-forces pressing him into his seat. Through the window, he saw the ground rushing up, an airport, runways. Fire trucks racing into position. They were going to make it, they had to make it. But then the plane shuddered violently. More screams, more prayers. Marcus gripped his armrest so hard his knuckles turned white. The landing gear deployed with a loud thunk. The flaps extended. The plane was lined up with the runway. They were seconds away. Wait, Marcus thought. Wait. Something was wrong. He could feel it. The plane was coming in too steep, too fast. The pilots were trying to get down before the fire reached something critical. But if they hit the runway at this angle, at this speed, the landing gear might collapse. The plane might cartwheel. People could die. Marcus looked out the window. They were maybe 20 seconds from touchdown. The fire trucks were in position. Ambulances too. Everyone was ready for impact. But Marcus noticed the wind. The trees near the runway were bending hard. Crosswind. Strong crosswind from the left. If the pilots did not adjust, if they touched down with that wind hitting them sideways at this speed, they would skid off the runway. Without thinking, Marcus unbuckled his seatbelt. He stood. His mother grabbed at him. The flight attendants shouted for him to sit. He ignored them all. He ran toward the front of the cabin, toward the cockpit door. He had to tell them. He had to warn them about the wind. "Sit down," a flight attendant yelled, reaching for him. "Wait," Marcus shouted back. "Wait. The wind. They need to know about the wind." The flight attendant paused, confused. Marcus pointed out the window. "Look at the trees. Look at the crosswind. If they do not adjust, we will skid off the runway." She looked. She saw. Her eyes widened. She grabbed the phone and punched the cockpit. There was no time for protocol. "Captain," she said breathlessly. "Passenger reports strong crosswind from the left. Visible in tree movement." A pause. Then the plane banked slightly right. The nose adjusted. The pilots had heard. They were compensating. Marcus felt the shift. Felt the plane align better with the runway. He stumbled back to his seat, heart pounding. His mother pulled him close. 10 seconds. The runway filled the windows. 5 seconds. The wheels were feet from the ground. 3 seconds. 2, 1. The plane hit hard. Incredibly hard. The landing gear groaned but held. The brakes screamed. Smoke poured from the tires. The plane decelerated violently. Passengers lurched forward against seatbelts. Overhead bins popped open. Bags tumbled out. But the plane stayed straight. It stayed on the runway. It did not skid. It did not flip. They rolled to a stop. Fire trucks surrounded them instantly. Foam sprayed the underside of the plane. The emergency slides deployed. The cabin door flew open. Fresh air rushed in. "Evacuate," the flight attendants commanded. "Leave everything. Move quickly, but do not run. Go, go, go." Passengers poured out of their seats. Marcus and his mother reached the slide. She went first. He followed. The slide was steep and fast. He hit the ground and ran away from the plane. Firefighters directed them to a safe area. He turned and watched. Smoke billowed from the rear of the aircraft. Flames licked out from the panel he had seen. The firefighters attacked it with extinguishers and foam. Within minutes, the fire was out. Every passenger made it off safely. Every single one. Marcus stood with his mother in the grass beside the runway. She hugged him so tightly he could barely breathe. Around them, people cried, laughed, called loved ones. The relief was overwhelming. A firefighter approached Marcus. "You the kid who spotted the smoke?" Marcus nodded. The firefighter shook his hand. "You saved a lot of lives today, son. That fire was minutes from reaching the fuel lines. If it had, we would be having a very different conversation." Later, the pilots came over. They thanked Marcus for noticing the smoke early. They thanked him for the warning about the crosswind. The captain, a man with gray hair and tired eyes, crouched down to Marcus's level. "You have good instincts," he said. "Ever think about becoming a pilot?" Marcus smiled. "I want to build planes, actually." The captain nodded. "Then build them safe. Build them smart. The world needs people like you." The story spread quickly. News crews arrived. Marcus reluctantly gave interviews. His mother stood beside him, pride radiating from her. By that evening, the video of him warning about the crosswind had gone viral. People called him a hero. Marcus did not feel like a hero. He just felt lucky that he had been paying attention. His sister's graduation was postponed by a day, but she did not mind. She flew up to meet them instead. When she saw Marcus, she hugged him and cried. "I almost lost you," she whispered. He hugged her back. "I know," he said, "but we are okay. We are all okay." In the weeks that followed, Marcus received letters from passengers on the flight. Thank you notes, gifts, invitations to visit. One letter was from the elderly couple he had helped with their oxygen masks. They wrote that they had been married for 53 years and were on their way to meet their first great-grandchild. "Because of you," the letter said, "we got to meet her. Thank you for giving us that gift." Marcus kept that letter in his desk drawer. Whenever he doubted himself, whenever school felt hard or his dreams felt far away, he read it. He remembered that sometimes the smallest actions have the biggest consequences. Sometimes noticing what others miss makes all the difference. Sometimes standing up and saying wait is exactly what the world needs. Marcus Chen did become an aerospace engineer. Years later, he helped design safety systems for commercial aircraft. Systems that detect fires earlier. Systems that give pilots better information during emergencies. He never forgot that Tuesday morning. He never forgot the smell of smoke, the feel of the landing, the faces of the passengers. And he made sure that every plane he worked on was a little bit safer because of it. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe for more videos like this.